So here we are at the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis. It's funny, there's a Dahlgren Hall here. There's also a Dahlgren Hall, I'm pretty sure, at Georgetown University. And actually there's a family of realtors named Dahlgren in Washington, D.C. So, I guess it's an old Maryland name. I have never been at the Naval Academy before, although somebody brought me an amusing postcard once from their hotel, or they're not their hotel, their museum. Anyway, tourists apparently can just come to the Naval Academy here. All you have to do is show an ID. It's very pretty, although I feel myself torn because my natural inclination is, of course, to walk along the water and take pictures of the water, and I think that is what I'm going to do. But at the same time, we have one of the many domes of Annapolis off in the distance, and that dome is on the Naval Academy grounds. I would say it's either Preble Hall or Bancroft Hall from this directory. Anyway, I'm just going to take pictures of water. And I have no idea what we're going to see because, once again, I've never been here. It may start raining. I think basically we're going to have 3 10-minute tapes. I can't promise you that you'll get to see fit young ladies and gentlemen going running or rowing, though I know that happens around here. Here is a statue to Lieutenant General John Archer Lejeune of the Marine Corps. I think I've heard of Camp Lejeune, which must be somewhere else before. Or rather, I think I've heard of Camp Lejeune, which must be somewhere else. Halsey Field House. Anyway, over the distance you see another part of Annapolis, which I think is not the Naval Observatory, across the water. I'm actually listening to talk radio while I film this, so I'm going to have less to say than in some of my other little travelogue-ish tapes, because I really don't know anything about what we're looking at. We're in Annapolis, and I'm going to try to walk along the water, which means that half the time I'll be taking photos of things that are not actually the Naval Observatory. We just passed by a plaque in honor of Robert Means Thompson. Don't actually know who he was. There seem to be memorials and statues to both Navy and Marine people. I suppose I'm old enough that there's no danger that I'll be inducted or sign up while I'm here, or that if I try to, I'll be accepted. Although it's probably more possible than it used to be. There's the U.S. Naval Academy shield. It looks like the their motto is Scientia, which I'm fairly certain is Latin for just the word knowledge. Well, I'm not fairly certain. That's just my guess, actually. That year of high school Latin was a long time ago. Anyway, here's the actual bay in Annapolis. There's a kid with blue shoes who's fascinated by the fact that I'm iPadding everything. I wish I'd done this before in one of the 2 different years that I lived in Annapolis. She was like half a year plus a year and a half, but still. So what you're looking at now is private property in the docks in Annapolis, across the street from the, or rather across the water from the Naval Observatory. The Naval Observatory is here, or not Naval Observatory, sorry, that's in Washington, Naval Academy. And the Naval Academy architecture here is not very interesting. Looks like we're passing by mainly gyms and office buildings and athletic fields. What is interesting in the far distance is one of the bridges that cuts across the water here. I was on it earlier today and really wanted to somehow find a place to park to make a video, but I didn't see one. I'm sure there was one. Saw a sign for something called Scenic Overlook. I just didn't see the actual Scenic Overlook. One little tip in our climate change, global warming economy for you is that if it gets warm in March, probably even in April, I would assume this would be true for February too, you can stay at all kinds of bed and breakfast that are right downtown on the water, and they're cheap because they have a pre-formatted schedule of prices. It doesn't have anything to do with what the temperature is. It has to do with the date on the calendar, and their prices generally don't go up until the end of April or the beginning of May. Here we have an anchor. This seems to be the theme of my videotaping lately, is that everywhere I go there is an anchor to video. Everywhere I go in Virginia and Maryland. Didn't see any in Delaware. Anyway, people are running along this road along the water, and I'm going to try to walk so I don't have to video the runners or the cars. I'm going to try to walk between the cars and the water, which is difficult because it's a very small, it's actually basically impossible. But the only way to do it would be to get off and walk on the rocks. And I'm not sure that's even legal. However, for those of you who like this, since I'm being forced to video the cars, I might as well get in the runners too, and you can all look at the runners. So we're about 8 minutes into the 10 minutes of this tape. If you're somewhere where it's snowing or it's not warm yet or you can't go on vacation, just put this tape on a big screen and look at the water. That's probably the best justification I can come up with for doing this. Come back tomorrow, maybe I'll get an iPad 3 and you can compare the quality. Rush Limbaugh reviewed the iPad 3 today. He said that initially he was not impressed that they had oversold how much better it was, and he compared it, as he frequently does, to his experience of finally watching The Exorcist, which he'd been told was the scariest movie of all time, and it turned out that there wasn't that much to it. And if he simply hadn't been told how great it was, he wouldn't have had such a letdown. And then he said he went home at night and decided to do his show prep on the iPad 3 instead of on his laptop. And then all at once he realized it was much more fantastic than he had thought. So that was a funny kind of review. Anyway, I think I might as well go ahead and get one. So perhaps tomorrow will be the day. In fact, I think I'm going to a conference of social media people. Maybe I should get it before then and show up with it, just to give people something to ooh and ah about. Could have the 2 and the 3 side by side. Anyway, that's the end of this tape.